Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the NBA Front Office Show / Basketball Bulletin. That's right. We're simulcasting. Want to get into all the latest around the NBA trade deadline. And that worked out so great yesterday. We thought, heck, let's do it again today. I'm Trevor Lane. He's Keith. I finally have Wi-Fi. Smith, happy to have you here.
Yeah, if I all of a sudden drop out, just assume I'm done. Like I just left the planet and I'm headed back to my home planet with Poochie. So it's about where things have been all day for me with this stupid. Well, really, since last night, I was literally in the studio.
We were getting ready to go live.
And my internet dropped out, and it's been out for forever. So I'm like done with all that. We got a semi-unrelated question, kind of related. Where do you guys host the show? Like in the thumbnails? That was in the Vegas studio. So it was a while ago, 2 years ago now, 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was at the Wynn in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
a studio that we don't have control over anymore or access to anymore. But at some point, it'd be nice to do a studio show again.
Yeah, I think here's my dream theory. I want to let's just get rid of the All-Star game entirely.
Yes.
Put the trade deadline right at the start of. We still have an All-Star break. Just call it mid-season break. Put the trade deadline right at the beginning of it. So we're not. And as much as I enjoy the weird games where teams have okay, so we have a roster of 4 centers and 1 point guard and 1 forward, and that's what we have available. Those are fun, but they're kind of crappy products.
Sure.
And then you and I can go rent some space and hang out together for the days leading up to the trade deadline, do live shows, live hits. Hell, we'll put a live webcam on and you can watch us just do whatever we do.
We'll bring sleeping bags, some cots, something like that. And we could just, that sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
I think people would be on board for that.
I'll let Adam know next time I talk to him.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Perfect.
Let's do it. All right. We got a lot of stuff that we need to get into.
Yeah, we've got 2 trades we're going to break down
from
yesterday that we haven't gotten to. And then, I don't know.
And somebody said it's dead today. Nothing's happening. What are you talking about? Have you seen what's been going on today? There are so many rumors flying around right now.
Yeah.
It's hard to even keep track of it all. Now,
we just haven't gotten any trades today. But this is how it was a big day yesterday and some big trades yesterday. So it's a little bit of a reset, and then it'll move and go again. So
there's you get the negative Nancy's, only talk about something if it's already happened crowd. Come on. Are you kidding me? We've got so much flying around right now that could be taking place around the NBA. I love all the endless possibilities.
And we always hope we'll spur something to happen while we're on.
I hope we get to hit the breaking news button. But first, let's talk about the big James Harden and Darius Garland trade that happened. Keith, we talked about it a little bit, but I love this trade for the Cavs. I think this is great. I think you get the better player. I think that you get, and they wound up giving up a pick to make it happen, a second round pick, but which is ironic because the reporting before had been that the Cavs wanted a pick, which to me didn't make sense. I've seen some people have the opposite take, say they didn't understand why the Cavs gave up the younger player. I'm concerned about Darius Garland perhaps flipping to being a negative value contract, especially if he has one more injury. And I like James Harden as a better player right now than Garland, and I love the financial flexibility this could give the Cavs as early as this summer.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think for Cleveland, there's layers to this trade. One is they're trying to make a title run right now, and Darius Garland is not a reliable player to have right now because we have seen him get injured. We've seen him really struggle in the playoffs. Yes, someone's going to counter with James Harden stinks, but that's usually in elimination games. He's generally pretty productive elsewhere in playoff games, but you got to get there first, right? And James Harden is a guy, he doesn't really miss time. So I think they're going to, really kind of, get the more reliable guy in. We'll see what the fit looks like with him and Donovan Mitchell and their big guys and all that. I think him and Jarrett Allen will be fantastic together. It's really him and Mitchell. It sounds good, but we all know NBA teams are not. This is not a fantasy roster. You're not just stacking talent. They have to fit together. And I think what ultimately happens here is, where do we kind of see what this looks like? And then the other layer to this is they saved a ton of money here, both real money. They got themselves within shouting distance between their moves they've done so far with DeAndre Hunter and all this. So if they're not out of the second apron this year, they'll get out of the second apron next season. They're in a position to really do some stuff here that allows them to really reset their roster, retool a little bit, and go. And then the last layer is Donovan Mitchell seems happy. And Donovan Mitchell is extension eligible this summer. So we're in a position where you want Donovan Mitchell happy. You don't want to be in a position, much like we've talked about with Giannis and a bunch of other guys, you don't want it to be a situation where, hey, you want to extend? Nah, I'm good. Let's play it out, because that's where it gets dangerous.
Exactly. You don't want to be put in that spot. Somebody in the chat said the Cavs just shortened their window by 3 to 5 years. Did they though? Did they really?
I like Darius Garland, but I'm not that high on Darius.
Right. I like I said, I question whether or not, and maybe it works out for the Clippers. I question whether or not he'll be a negative value contract, or he may even be one right now. Yes, he's the younger player, but the Cavs get a lot more flexibility this way. They were going down once they made the DeAndre Hunter trade, and they brought in Schroeder, they brought in Keon Ellis, assuming they would like to keep Keon Ellis past this year. They were staring down this summer, having to make a difficult decision if they wanted to drop below the second apron of, do you move one of Jared Allen, Darius Garland? Do you do something else drastic? Do you try to move on from Max Strus? And they may do other stuff, but flipping Darius Garland, making that decision now, and getting a player that's better than Darius Garland that has the ability, if it doesn't work out, to give you flexibility because he's only $13 million guaranteed for next year. I don't think you can ask for a much better situation given the reality of what the Cavs were running into this summer. Now, if they go all the way this year and win the title, had they done that with Darius Garland, they probably just continue to pay the second apron. But that decision was hanging over their franchise. Now they give themselves a lot more flexibility to handle that in a number of different ways this summer. You get the better player right now. I know he struggled in the playoffs, but I don't know if the Cavs, with the injury history of Garland, were going to be in a better position committing long-term to him anyway. So again, I love this for the Cavs. For the Clippers, you get a young player, you get a piece. It's interesting that his salary goes beyond 2027, which had been kind of the drop dead date for the Clippers, because they want to be able to kind of refresh things after that summer. And it's part of why James Harden wanted out of LA. But he's a young player. If he is able to get on the floor and stay healthy, it's reasonable to assume that he would be more valuable in 2027 than James Harden will be when he's 38 years old or whatever. So that's the payoff there for the Clippers.
We spent a lot of yesterday breaking down the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade, talking about pre-agency and the concept of go get a player now.
Yeah.
Before they may go. So sorry,
we're keeping an eye on everything.
Yeah, and this is just the injury report thing. The Celtics are, I think, tossing away tonight's game on the second night of a back-to-back. Sam Hauser's out. Jaylen Brown probably not going to play. So, where was I? All right, pre-agency. So with this situation here, what we're kind of looking at in this one is, if you're the Clippers, whether it was this summer or next summer, they were going to have somewhere between, let's call it $60 and $100 million in cap space at some point in the next 2 years. Can you spend that on a free agent better than Darius Garland? Probably not. There probably wasn't going to be anyone better that hit the market. Then the other thing is, okay, could you trade for somebody better than Darius Garland? Yeah, maybe. But Darius Garland's a good player. Like I don't want to make it out like this guy's bad. He just gets hurt a lot. So what you're hopeful is, and this happens with injured players all the time in the NBA, is let's get us to a place where get him to us, we'll get him right. We'll get that player on the floor more often and we'll go. So I think we're just kind of in a spot where for Darius Garland, he'll come in and they'll be able to put him in there. They'll have him paired up with Kawhi and Zubac and Derek Jones Jr. and whoever else that stays on the roster next year. And then a year after that, it's going to be Garland, Zubac, and not much on the books. So they're in pretty good shape. I mean, that's only like $65 million total on their books for 2 summers from now. So they can still have a ton of cap space. It's not going to be probably over 100 million, but it'll probably be in the range of 60 million or so. And that's a pretty good place to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're still going to have some flexibility here. You get a young player in Garland. Not bad there for the Clippers either, especially if James Harden decided, hey, I see the writing on the wall. It could lead to a very bad, and we talked about this yesterday, situation where maybe the Clippers would waive James Harden, eat the $13 million next year or this coming summer. On July 11th, I think, was the drop dead date to do that. And by that point, all the cap space is gone. And then he's got $13 million, but also nobody that has any space left to spend on him. That's where things could get very bad for Harden. So now he gets out of that situation, gets to the Cavs, to a situation where he can go potentially win right now. And then the Clippers get a young player moving forward. Now, the one thing is...
Can you pull up the Cavs cap sheet real quick?
Yeah. I just want to say, I think the Thunder are a big winner in this as well.
Sure.
Because there is certainly the potential, especially with Darius Garland already injured, that this derails the Clippers, who've been the hottest team in the NBA over the last 6 weeks or so. This has the potential to derail that and therefore improve the Clippers draft pick, which will go to the Thunder via the Paul George trade.
Yeah, 100%. And they're saying Garland probably after the All-Star break is when they're hoping he'll be back. So we'll see, where it goes. But yeah, if you're the Thunder, this probably you feel a little bit better right now about this. So Harden, player option for next year, $42.3 million. Like you said, if he comes into a spot where that he picks that up, it only becomes $13 million guaranteed. So the Cavs, if let's just say this goes completely sideways, well, then the Cavs just waive him, and the Cavs are now well under the aprons and can make other moves if they need to. If it goes well, here's how I think this will play out. I think James Harden will opt out of that, and then the Cavs, what they'll do is they'll re-sign him for like 2 years, $60 million guaranteed or something like that. So to lower his number, give the team more flexibility, but he'll get more guaranteed money just spread over 2 years. So that'll be kind of where this lands out, is my guess for this, if it goes well. If it doesn't go well, then all bets are off, because who knows what the Cavs are going to do at that point.
Right. Yeah, if it doesn't go well, you could just have $13 million on your books and move on from James Harden, and there you go. That's the protection in there. Now, Keith, we did say we need to get into that Celtics Bulls trade. Before we get to that, though, we said we get into the latest intel. Mark Stein just dropped this, talking about the big man market. Said, keep an eye on the Wizards as a potential landing spot for a couple of different bigs. They're looking for somebody to put next to Alex Sarr, and one of the names that keeps coming up, Walker Kessler. The Jazz are determined to keep him even after they traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. And I get it. The idea of putting Jaren Jackson Jr. and Walker Kessler next to each other, that's got to be very enticing. Mark Stein says it's wonky on paper. I don't know. I think there are ways that could absolutely work. Yeah, I kind of like it. But nonetheless, this is you're going to get suitors for Walker Kessler. The Pacers, another team mentioned, the Wizards being another one. And then Domantas Sabonis. There have been talks about a deal around Sabonis and Chris Middleton's $33 million expiring salary.
So let's pause there real quick. Sabonis and Sarr, that's the kind of fit you need with Sabonis.
Yep.
Because Sarr can protect the rim. He can play because he can step outside and shoot, while Sabonis does all his elbow and post-up stuff and works on the block. That's the kind of fit. Now, Sabonis and Trae Young together, boy, you're going to have to really work with the other three guys playing a lot of defense. You're not getting a lot. Or you say, hey, guess what? Let's go score 130 points a night, be really fun, and we'll try to win that way, which, okay, why not, right? If that's the direction you want to go. But this one intrigues me. I'm not, when this came up a couple weeks ago, I think Jake was the first one who had it a couple weeks ago. I don't mind this idea. This idea is okay to me.
Yeah, I mean, the Kings are looking for some type of first-round draft capital in a Sabonis deal. I'm sure they are, but that's also a massive contract. He's hard to fit with a lot of teams. When I look at this and I think about what Washington is doing, this isn't all that dissimilar from what Utah just did in getting Jaren Jackson Jr. If we're looking at the Wizards being a buyer on the market on a Walker Kessler, on a Domantas Sabonis, are they ready to go win right now? No, but we're seeing these kind of tanking teams say, you know what? If the market is such that teams don't want to take on a player like a Trae Young, teams don't value these players, maybe we, with our flexibility, can take advantage of a market inefficiency here and grab a player that's very, very good, maybe slightly overpaid. We don't care if they're slightly overpaid. We've got mountains of cap space. And these are players that are of a talent level that normally we would not be in the running for. But because nobody else wants them, because of the slight overpay, that gives us an opportunity to move us forward very, very quickly. And I'm not suggesting Jaren Jackson Jr. is overpaid. I'm more talking about Washington and buying on Trae Young, maybe buying on Domantas Sabonis. And the Jazz, I'm comparing it to that in that we're seeing these tanking teams being ready to act as buyers on the market if need be. And that's a little bit of a shift, I think, strategically, Keith, from what we've seen in years past, and maybe them exploiting the way teams are approaching contracts under this collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah, I think let's talk Ja Morant here too, right?
Because that's is the next step.
Yeah, Jake had some reporting that the Grizzlies' asking prices come way down. Let's remember, the Grizzlies wanted young players and draft capital for Ja Morant. They didn't get it. They were basically told it's probably the Trae Young price, which is expiring contract and a nice role player, and that's what you're going to get out of this. Well, they got the draft capital in young players in the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. Sounds like now they might be a little more open to let's go to a place with Ja Morant where now we feel like we can maybe take back a little less than what we wanted because we already landed the big package for Jackson. So now we're in a position where we could kind of do that. It seems more likely that maybe a team meets that asking price too, because if it's the matter of get off a contract and I can send you something, maybe even turn it into, hey, we'll take worse contract than Ja Morant or longer term or two players you don't want. And but you now that's how we get a pick out of this. So we're going to kind of see where that kind of comes together with that. I'm sure it'd be going a lot better if he was healthy and on the court, but he's not. But that's part of the known equation with acquiring him is you got to figure that out. But I think I'm not going to be surprised now if we see Ja move before Thursday.
Should Sacramento take that, because Sacramento's name has popped up again today as maybe a landing spot for Ja, if they could shed a salary in the process of landing Ja, like if you can move Zach LaVine and get Ja, should they be in the interest of doing that?
I wouldn't. If I was the Kings now, let's chart a course where we'll just keep Zach LaVine, let his contract turn into an expiring deal next year when he picks up his player option. That will have value in and of itself. Not great value, but we'll be able to move it and just let's rebuild. We don't need to be taking on Ja Morant. I know the DeAndre Hunter one was a little weird, but it's not like DeAndre Hunter's not untradeable on the contract he's on or anything. So they could always flip him later, but I would be very careful if I was the Kings of taking on too much long-term money. Because what's that going to do for you? It's going to kind of put you in the middle, and they're not like the Wizards, right? Where you're the Wizards where you've been down for a little bit now. I don't mind the idea of let's try to build this up and give a super young roster the opportunity to play some meaningful games next season, start to learn and figure things out. So I think that's where I would go with the Kings. I feel like where it's the super young talent on the roster is guys that are like, we're not ready to go there yet, minus Keegan Murray. And we already kind of saw Keegan Murray in the playoffs. He's fine. Like he's okay with that, or not, but you know what I mean, the play-in and playoffs and all that. So it's like I should be very careful if I was the Kings to take on long-term money.
It feels like the Kings, they had this focus, right, of we're not taking back any long-term salary. We're going to do things the right way. I'm worried that they're going to get distracted and they're going to go, ooh, Ja Morant, right? And next thing you know, they're stuck in the same spot that they've been in for so long.
Well, this one from Ann says, can you see Milwaukee try to get Ja in an effort to entice Giannis to stay? I think we're past that like
Jake
entice
Fisher
Giannis to
just
stay.
mentioned something about that being a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say it's completely off the table. Maybe that could still go down, but I think we're past the idea for Giannis to be enticed to stay. Because I think we're now down to like either they're going to find a trade the Bucks are that they like or they aren't. In Giannis's comments, I 100% respect, appreciate, and love the way he talked about Milwaukee and how his kids were born there. His dad is buried there. How like much Milwaukee will always mean to him.
Sure.
How much he loves Milwaukee. Anybody who's questioned that is an idiot. Like clearly, the guy has a lot of love for Milwaukee, the Bucks, the fans, the area. But he has also said, "But I want to win. I don't want to be battling to just get into the playoffs."
Yes.
And like, so I still think I don't know if it's going to happen before tomorrow's deadline, but I think we're down to our final days with Giannis as a Buck, whether that's now or leading into the summertime.
And we're reportedly down to 3 teams. It's Golden State, Miami, and Minnesota that are realistically in the running for Giannis right now.
Yeah.
That said, in terms of enticing Giannis to stay, there's reports from today that there are teams that are trying to tell Milwaukee, do not trade him now. We will give you a better offer in the summer. So those teams that are not among those 3. Meanwhile, those 3 teams are scrambling to try to find the pieces to get Milwaukee to say, okay, we'll do this now, and not allow these other teams this summer to get into the mix. So it's a fascinating tug of war with Milwaukee kind of caught in the middle and trying to figure out what's going to be best for their future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is just a interesting spot to kind of be in.
All right, let's go. Let's jump over. By the way, we are going to spend a bunch of time in the chat taking your questions, your comments.
Yes,
anything happens, anything breaks here while we're live, we'll hit the breaking news button and off we go. As every notification that we get right now, we're jumping on. But
and my stupid texts are going off about my stupid internet.
Stupid internet. I'm trapped in my house still. Keith has no internet. Our pets' heads are falling off. What's going on here? Oh, I love that movie. Okay. Let's talk about Nick Vucevic for Anthony Simons. So you do have the Celtics saving money, and that obviously matters, and we'll get into that. We also have people look at this and go, oh, it's a second-round pick for a second-round pick in this trade. Remember, not all seconds are created equal.
Yeah.
So that's something that we have to factor in here too. But Keith, do you like the Bulls may take a minute. We look at the guards on their roster.
Oh, hit that breaking news button.
Let's go.
I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Oh my God.
The Dallas Mavericks are trading Anthony Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum to the Washington Wizards.
A buyer on the market.
For Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, 2 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks. Holy crap, the Wizards off the top rope.
What is happening? We just talked about this dynamic, about the Wizards maybe buying on the market. And oh my God, we've got so much to talk about. We have so
Davis,
much to
AD, and Trae Young team up, but in Washington.
In Washington with the Wizards. So forget Sabonis then.
Yeah, forget that for them. Holy cow. This frees up a ton of long-term flexibility for Dallas.
Yes.
Without even running the numbers, Chris Middleton is an expiring contract. Anthony Davis obviously has money that runs out longer, as does Jaden Hardy. Russell expiring, Exum expiring, Branham, Bagley expiring. AJ Johnson's going to get a very small deal, but this frees up a ton of long-term flexibility for Dallas on their books. So that's the real motivation here. Is none of the players are much for Dallas, to being completely respectful of those players. This is about getting the draft capital and off of Anthony Davis's contract, because clearly they didn't seem overly interested in paying him.
Wow. Shams Charania noting the Wizards acquiring a future Hall of Fame big man in Davis, one of the top 75 greatest players to add to their core of Trae Young, Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, Trey Johnson, and Bilal Coulibaly. Dallas receives long-term assets and opens significant flexibility to build around Cooper Flag. Wow.
I did just tweet out because obviously I have a lot of Celtics fan followers. We will come back and talk Vooch and Simons, but we had to get into this one.
This is crazy. Anthony Davis dealt back-to-back trade deadlines. Oh my goodness. AD to the Washington Wizards. So, Keith, let's starting with the Washington side of this.
Yeah.
Does this suggest that the Washington Wizards have decided they want to be the team to pay Anthony Davis on his next contract? Because he's due for an extension this summer.
Yeah, either they will extend him or they are okay letting this play out. Because for them, if this plays out, great. So we got you for a chunk of the year here and we'll figure it out. So it is the picks are a 2026 Thunder first round pick, so that's
okay. That's going to be number 30
pick in the draft. And a 2030 protected Warriors first rounder, along with second rounders from the Suns this year, the mid second, 2027 Bulls and 2029 Rockets. So, to your question, I think for the Wizards, we're going to try to convince you to be here with us. Right, be here with Trae Young and with our young core. It's the East. Why not us next year, right? Why can't we make a Pistons like run at this next year and try to get better, and then we'll move up in the standings. And if it doesn't work out, it's now just going crazy.
It's going crazy.
Now, if the Wizards, all right, if it doesn't work out, then you know what? You can leave in free agency in a year. And we'll still have all the flexibility, but we'll have had a year to try to convince you to stay. If they don't go right into this with, we're going to extend you this summer. Right. I don't have an issue with this for Washington. Again, Washington entered trade season, pre-Trae Young trade, with potentially over $80 million in cap space next summer. Pre-agency,
had to spend it somewhere.
Pre-agency at its finest right here. AD and Trae Young, there's your cap space. You spent it. Now you got your guys.
Man, that is something. Now, the Wizards making this move. Now you've got your guys that you want to have moving forward. Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante. Does D'Angelo Russell stick in Washington, or do we see more here?
Could be a buyout.
Could be a buyout. Could be something like that. The two
Middleton could be a buyout in Dallas too. Like anytime it's a veteran guy going to a non-playoff team and they're on an expiring contract, there's always the potential it could be a buyout.
So again, we talked about the Wizards capitalizing on maybe a market inefficiency, guys who are talented players, but other teams not wanting to pay them. The Wizards having the ability to pay them and saying, hey, we'll take good players that might be slightly maybe a little bit of a risk. Now suddenly the Wizards have Trae Young. Suddenly the Wizards have Anthony Davis. They've got these pieces that they can really build something around with their young kids, and maybe they're winning next year. For the Mavs, I know we have to separate the two things, but how do Mavs fans feel knowing that this is your main piece that you got back for Luka, and you flipped him for a couple of low-level first-round picks and cap space?
Yeah, not good. Like, I mean, there's no other way to put it. All I will say, though, is you can't – there's no this is not Avengers Endgame. There's no time machines being built here. No PIM particles are letting you go back and undo the Luka trade. And if you are, you're living in an alternate timeline that's not the real one. It's not the sacred timeline that Loki's overseeing.
Right.
So you're in a spot where all you can do is move forward. I don't think it's not going to make any Mavs fan feel better about the Luka trade, nor should it. But you should feel better about the direction of your team going forward. Because if you weren't sold that paying AD is the way to go, this is better. You get cap flexibility in a couple Yeah, we'll see. They're probably not going to be great first-round picks, but we get a couple first-round picks. 3 seconds, we kind of went through them. They're okay. They're okay seconds.
Do you then, if you are the Dallas Mavericks, obviously AD was not playing right now anyway. How much? I mean, Cooper Flag's been playing great basketball. Does Kyrie Irving come back this season? Is this fire up the tank here and do everything you can to drop games? How do the Mavs handle this from here on out? Like the Wizards, I'm sure will shut AD down for the remainder of the season. He may be anyway. Trae Young, they're not going to play him much. The Wizards, their pick is top 8 protected. They can't risk losing that.
No,
they're going to tank. The Mavs, does this now ramp up their tank that much further? And does this mean Kyrie Irving does not return?
Yeah, I mean, and we've heard a lot of mixed things on Kyrie, right? There was a lot of talk of he was going to be back by now, right? He was going to be back in January. He's going to be back in there. We may still see Kyrie maybe do one of those cameo kind of deals after the All-Star break of, hey, let me get out there and just, now I've played, I feel pretty good. I can hit the summer feeling really good about myself, but I don't think we're going to see him play any meaningful kind of games. This is, I think now, if you're Portland and the Clippers, not that you're taking your foot off the gas and trying to improve, like win games, but this is it. The West playoff, the order will shuffle, but the West postseason picture is now set. Memphis is rebuilding. Utah is doing their thing, and the Pelicans and Kings can't even see those other teams. So yeah, I think for the Mavericks, I think we're in a spot where it is, hey, let's just kind of, if Kyrie gets back for a handful of games before the season runs out, just to kind of knock the rust off, feel good about things, hit his summer, we're good with that. Otherwise, it's going to be Cooper Flag show like it's been for the last couple months, and we'll just kind of keep things moving.
Man, this is, I mean, for an NBA trade deadline that we were saying, is this going to be a dud line? We're suddenly getting some really crazy
that.
stuff.
I did not. Well, to be clear, I did not necessarily see big name max guys moving, but I thought we'd get a bunch of trades just because the league's wide open, right? Nobody is. Every time the Thunder lost a game over the last couple months, you had more teams say, I think I'm kind of in on, let's make a run. You know, why not us? So.
Yeah. But, you know, we're seeing these teams that are buying on the market, these supposedly tanking teams that are buying, they're going to continue tanking this year. And so really for the Wizards in this situation, it's not just we're pairing Anthony Davis and Sarr and Trae Young and Koulibaly and Trey Johnson and all these other pieces, right? This is AD. This is a potential Wizards future of AD, Trae Young, Darren Peterson, AJ DeBonsa, right? Like that is the dream scenario because they're not going to start winning right now. The Wizards are not
even close.
That's the dream scenario for Washington right now.
And if you're Dallas, you're thinking now, hey, maybe it happens again for us. And we've got, now we get another good player to put alongside Cooper Flag. If it wasn't clear to everybody, which it should have been for months and months now, the future in Dallas is it's Cooper Flag's team, and we'll figure all the rest of it out. So from there, but yeah, it's I mean, he's the youngest player ever to score more than 30 points on 3 consecutive games. He's so good. Like I saw somebody tweet last night. I wish I could remember who it was. It was like, I yelled at a bunch of people to stop using the term generational because you can't call Wemby generational and Cooper Flag generational. And then he said, I am wrong.
Yeah, maybe you can.
I was wrong. So I thought that was funny.
That is funny. This is I love this league. You just never know.
The NBA always delivers. Like it's like every other trade deadline is, flush it down the toilet stinky. Like the NBA trade deadline is great.
Destroys all. All right. So huge news. Anthony Davis going to the Washington Wizards in exchange for essentially draft capital and cap space. Does Chris Middleton get bought out?
Maybe. So here's the challenge with Chris Middleton. He would have to have a landing spot with a non-apron team because he makes more than the non-taxpayer mid-level because he's not going to give back that much in a buyout.
Sure.
Generally, a buyout is I'm going to give you back what I'll make on when I sign a prorated minimum somewhere else. Maybe occasionally it's a little bit more if I really want my freedom. that's the sticking point with this. He and the Mavs now may feel like your bird rights are a little more valuable to us. Not that anybody's going to be lining up, but just to be able to use them in a trade this coming off season. So, but yeah, it's we'll see. I would still lean towards yes, he gets bought out, but we'll see.
By the way, while we've got so many people in here right now, make sure if you haven't done so yet, you subscribe, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button for us as well. Let's get a like spike here.
Spike, let's go.
Things are going crazy around the NBA.
All right, I'm going to tweet it. Let's actually talk the Celtics-Bulls trade now.
Okay, so let's talk Vucevic for Simons. Keith, not all second-round picks are created equal. So there is something to be said there, but it's a second going each way. Vooch, Simons, started with the Celtics side. They get their big for now. He's 35 years old. Mm-hmm. But in terms of trying to make a run this year, I think Vooch does help Boston shore up that center position, gives them a big body in there, somebody that can rebound, not the best defensive player, but certainly an offensive talent, and you can play 5 out with him, which I think is typically what we see Boston want to do. So Vooch in Boston, a guy you covered a lot in Orlando, and now he's with your team.
Here's my process on this. I want to see what else the Celtics do, but I kind of hate this trade.
For Boston?
For Boston.
Okay.
The Celtics last night had to move Peyton Pritchard to the bench because Anthony Simons is the only backup guard and ball handler on this roster. They didn't have another guard on the not healthy, not active, don't have another one. Now it is Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, and that's it. That are ball handling guards that can create. Now, if Jason Tatum comes back, Jason Tatum he's not a guard, but he's a playmaker. He can handle the ball. He can do these things. And Jaylen Brown is clearly a great creator, but he's just not a guard. I'm talking about specifically guards. They had 3. Now they have 2. But they got under the first apron with this trade. So now they're in play for any buyout guy who potentially becomes available. But they got to get another ball handler in there and ideally some bench scoring.
Keith?
I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Sorry to cut you off. We got another one.
I didn't get it.
Let me make sure I'm not getting... This is not scams, Tarania. The Philadelphia 76ers are trading Jared McCain to the Thunder for a 2026 Rockets first-round pick and 3 second-round picks.
Oh, wow. And this is real?
This is Shams. This is on Shams' account.
Oh, here it is. I got the ESPN alert. I didn't get the Twitter one. Okay.
There it is.
Right. Wow. Geez. All right, let's come back to this one.
The NBA does not want us to talk about the Celtics. That's what's happening.
You know what it is?
Now,
it's because I'm not happy about my team. That's why they're like, let's just get them off, move on. Here, we'll come back to this.
We will come back to this. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Celtics. Yeah. So Boston's got to get another guard. They need to get bench scoring. Simons was playing great for them. He'd actually really bought in and improved as a defender. The need for a big man was not what it was at the beginning of the year. Neemias Queta has been really good. Luka Garza has played great. Luka Garza was awesome. A lot of Boston-related people got a lot of run out of the headline. Big night from Luka in Dallas because Luka Garza went crazy and hit a bunch of 3-pointers and played awesome in Dallas last year. So the need for Vucevic was really lessened quite a bit. You mentioned his age. This is not a long-term piece for the Celtics. But they created a $27.7 million trade exception in this deal because Vooch is going to go into the Porzingis trade exception. Simons will go into, Simons then goes out for nothing the way the cat math works.
And that'll be good for a year.
Trade exception. Yeah, that'll be good for a year. That's huge, right? You can do a lot of things with that. And then they're in a position where, Boston is now, as long as they can fill that backcourt need somehow, whether it's through another trade, a buyout addition, something, they're in a good spot. So I don't like it as is, but I'm gonna assume there's more to come that will make me feel differently about this.
And that's a big trade exception that could matter.
Yeah,
maybe that pays off next season, right? Like that
now the second biggest one in history, because the Jaren Jackson Jr. yesterday became the biggest one.
Right. Exactly.
These are both those are both bigger than the Gordon Hayward one from back in the day.
Okay. So that's the Celtics side of it.
Yeah. The Bulls side,
they have to have all the guards, Keith.
Yeah. I mean, did you see my tweet?
No.
I said serious plays, so that's the Bulls' famous intro music. And I was like, starting lineup at guard, Josh Giddey, at guard, Kobe White, at guard as Ayo Dosunmu, at guard, Anthony Simons, might as well call him a guard, Modest Buzelis. Like I don't even know what they're doing. Like here's the thing though. It doesn't matter, right? If you're the Bulls, if the Bulls are basically saying, we are not chasing this play-in spot, give it away to Charlotte, we don't really care, then fine. I don't care. They're collecting a bunch of expiring contracts between Simons and Mike Conley. We'll see what happens with Jaden Ivey. We'll come back to that maybe later in the season, and going into the offseason, we'll kind of see how that all comes together in this.
So
Ousmane Dieng may be going out in that trade. Maybe not to Philadelphia, but which would make sense, because the Thunder need to shed somebody some way.
So when I'm thinking about that deal for Chicago, to me, that just makes it all the more certain that in the next 25 hours away from the deadline we are, Kobe White maybe both, and Ayo Dosunmu,
and maybe Simons too could be reflipped somewhere.
Could be.
Yeah, and we already know Mike Conley, they're going to work to try to trade him.
Yeah.
And if they can't, they're going to buy him out. That's already been talked. Unlike what we talked about with Chris Middleton in the wake of the AD trade, the Mike Conley makes less than the non-taxpayer MLE, so Mike Conley will be able to be traded rather be able to sign with whoever he wants.
Don't you love to, like, whenever word gets out about now with Mike Conley, it's a little different, but like, did you see there was the report early this morning that the Kings could buy out DeMar DeRozan if he doesn't get traded? And then immediately, like within an hour, there was a no, we're not going to buy him out. No, we would never do that. Right? No, that's not happening. Right. It was almost like a panic release there from the Sacramento Kings, because they were you have to put out there that no, you would never buy the guy out, because that kills his trade back. Because teams will say, oh, why get?
We'll just wait.
We'll just wait until he's a free agent in a couple of weeks, and we'll pick him up then. That was predictable, but I found it funny when that came out.
Let's pull this from our longtime viewer, D.A. Baracus. Is there any way to turn down the volume on the breaking news drop? Absolutely not. If it's too loud, you're too old. It's supposed to like jolt you.
I've been meaning to lower and I keep forgetting to do it. I should have done the Adam Silver trade one. Isn't as jarring,
quite as loud,
but it's not as loud. But I've been meaning to lower the volume on that. I don't have any way to do it in our system here. I have to make a new clip for it. But again, I need to do we got one from Ghostbusters anyway.
Yes, that's
the one that
whoever suggested that the other day.
Maybe
all right, you want to go to this Jared McCain trade?
Yes, so let's go to that now. So Jared McCain going to the Thunder. Now the Thunder are, and by the way, Shams did add in a little bit on the Wizards thinking on the AD trade. Said the Wizards have completed their deconstructed phase and are now moving towards Young and Davis, leading a rising core. Washington has turned Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma trades into Young, Davis, and 5 pick swaps. And then mentioned that there was some bit in here, could have sworn I just saw it, that they effectively gave up assets that were not particularly valuable. That's what the Wizards were doing in terms of trade picks, and didn't touch any of their young core.
All right. So this McCain trade, McCain to the Thunder for a 2026 Rockets first round pick. That'll be a relatively late pick. And then 3 second round picks. For Philadelphia, couple things. Philly needed, this gets them.
Dieng going to Charlotte.
Okay.
For Mason Plumlee.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because Dieng is like a bajillion, or Charlotte's like a bajillion miles under the luxury tax. That's a technical term, bajillion.
It's on the money, spot on there.
Yeah, Jared McCain, $4 million. So that gets them closer to out of the tax for Philly. McCain had been marginalized with Maxey and Edgecombe. That's the starting backcourt, and then you have Quentin Grimes. So we'll see where that kind of goes. Going forward, maybe this leads towards we would like to have Quentin Grimes stick around. We want to re-sign him, and that's where we want to go. But this, I mean,
is this a step back though for Philly for this season?
I don't think so. McCain wasn't playing that much.
Yeah.
Like he hadn't played that much there. So and honestly for the Thunder, they need a little bit more ball handling help. If you watch Thunder games, it's a lot of SGA having to do everything with the ball, especially with Jalen Williams out. So that is that's a little tricky there.
Oh, we got more news. What? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander sustained an abdominal strain in last night's game against the Magic and will be reevaluated following the All-Star break.
So he'll be out for the All-Star game.
That would mean he's out for the All-Star game, and Adam Silver's going to have to name another replacement.
And it'll have to be a international.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I mean, I don't know. I guess they could move Norman Powell.
Yeah, they could move Norman Powell over. I like that he's got flexibility there, but that's
Well, I also like too that when he put Kawhi in, they didn't just go direct to another Eastern Conference guy. When Giannis was ruled out. Like at this point, like I don't whatever. I already said my piece on the All-Star game. Eliminated. Let's put the trade deadline here. Do it instead. So
yes, agreed.
Yeah, Şengün, that would be a good. That would be good with me. I think Şengün's really good.
Yeah, he would make more sense as the replacement.
Well, now this makes even more sense. Like,
because you needed a guard right now.
McCain, you need another guard. Like you need another ball handler. So
with SGA out, so now he comes in, and so McCain may play right. By the way, don't the Clippers and Cavs play tonight? It's tonight, right?
Yeah.
Any chance that James Harden?
I don't want Rincon pitching against me.
Exactly. Exactly. Does he play tonight?
Nah.
Come on. No. It's too much fun. Yeah. Tell me he plays tonight.
I mean, I hope Garland won't play because he's hurt.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if Harden plays. Sure.
Man.
Yeah. I don't know though. We'll see. Generally, rule of thumb. Now that one's weird, right? Because they're already there. General rule of thumb. People get so angry about this. Like, we traded for this guy. Why has he not played yet? One, this is not 2K. You didn't just move them and they
don't teleport.
Yeah, they don't teleport. They do have to travel. They have to pass the physical part, as we all saw, not to bring up bad memories, but the Mark Williams situation, that has to happen. From there. So that'll be kind of how this comes down and comes together with all that. But this is the other part of this is you're in a spot where there's just a lot of things to figure out. Where this hit home for me most several years ago, the Orlando Magic traded. Remember when they traded Serge Ibaka to the Raptors?
Mm-hmm.
That was a okay, that's just more SGA.
Yeah,
that was
trying to keep up on it.
When Serge Ibaka was traded to the Raptors, there was a lot of like, why has he not played yet? Why has he not played yet? Well, one thing was Serge Ibaka had to get a whole new visa because he had his U.S. work visa to be here to play. Had to get a whole new one because now he is an employee of a team in Canada. So that was part of it. And he had like his kids that they had to figure everything out with all that stuff. This stuff is not easy. It is generally, I always say 1 to 3 days. That's when you'll see the guy kind of come back or not come back, but come to the new team and debut.
Well, the game, is it in LA? I'm double checking right now. I'm answering my own question. It is in LA. So Harden doesn't need to travel.
No. Yeah. I mean, he could, right? And it's not like you're not just going to kind of throw James Harden in there like you could. I just don't know that he will. So
I get why he wouldn't. I get why the teams wouldn't. But from a fan perspective, make this happen. It's too much fun.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to some of our chat questions and comments.
Yeah,
while we wait for the next bomb news to come out here. Joe Hendry here said, say his name and he appears. A friend says, Nico never made a mistake. There's no assets to get if Nico didn't trade for AD.
I like that. I always know it. I recognize now the profile picture and the friend says, like, so it just always makes me laugh. Right? It's the same thing every time. This guy's a lot of friends. Yeah. Or one friend really loves the NBA.
My friend tells me, what do I tell him?
You tell him you're wrong. Like, you should not have traded Luka.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Especially now, I mean, this can't feel great for Mavs fans that now you flip the main thing you got for Luka is now draft capital and a couple of not so great picks.
Because imagine if you had said to the entire NBA, Luka is available. How much would you have got then? That's ultimately what it comes down to.
Because both of those, the first that were involved in the AD trade, they're both late. One was a Thunder first.
Mm-hmm.
Like, could you, like, that's the ultimate net, right? Max Christie, players that are essentially just call them cap space.
Sure.
And a couple of super late, number 30 overall Thunder pick, late first round picks. Like, that's what you got for Luka. That can't feel great right now.
Nope.
Even if it's the right decision in this moment, and it might be, but that can't feel great when you look at the overall value of that deal.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, just bad all around.
All right, let's go here. Jaren Jackson Jr. just went for 4 firsts, 3 plus Clayton.
Okay. You can't call Clayton a first, though,
right?
Because he's already playing.
So let's say 3 firsts. And yet people think 3 is enough for Giannis, the most obvious propaganda to not make a trade by Pelinka. So that's the.
I like how the drive-by at the end there is like, let me fire off a couple shots.
A shot at Rob Pelinka. Yeah, I mean, look, that's ultimately where I landed with this. I've got a video that I recorded this morning ranting about this that I never got around to putting out because the whole Draymond Green bizarre rumor came out, and so I dealt with that. But I talked a little bit about this, that if you are sitting, and I'm not saying the Lakers have a ton to trade right now, and it's possible that nothing that's out there that's realistically available is worth giving up the flexibility for.
It's not. It's just Shams explaining.
It's just Shams explaining. Okay. It is worth giving up, stuff for right now. Maybe that's the spot that you're in. That's more of an indictment of, well, why don't you have more assets right now? And that's because of a bunch of really bad mistakes that they've made for years now. But if the thinking is, well, Giannis is available, and you think 3 first-round picks and cap space, that offer is not going to get beaten, especially when one of those first is the Lakers' 2026 first, which is already probably going to be somewhere in the 20s, late, at the very least, the very best, I guess, for the buyer's perspective would be late teens pick.
And by the time they can trade it, there will be little unknown to it.
Yeah.
Because we'll already be in the draft day.
Yeah, you can't trade it until it's a player and not a pick.
Yeah, so they can pick for the Bucks.
Exactly, you can pick for them.
Still, it's not. Anytime a pick is unknown, it has more value than, I know that's the 20. I don't know.
Yes,
wherever the Lakers land out roster.
Right, exactly. So, this is that. I think it is. On one hand, you could say, well, a 5% shot at Giannis might be better than whatever's available right now. I don't think, though, if there's anything reasonable available for them to do right now, a slim chance at getting Giannis with 3 first-round picks. People say, well, they'll put in Austin Reeves. He's a free agent. You can't assume that Austin Reeves is going to play along and agree to go to the Milwaukee Bucks. He could sign somewhere else if he wants. So you can't factor him in as a potential asset the Lakers could put into a deal. If it was Austin and 3 first-round picks, okay, right? Then
starts to feel.
Then you start feeling like, oh, okay, well now we're really talking here. But you can't assume that that's an asset that they've got. So ultimately, I agree with Senpai. Not necessarily the propaganda by Pelinka or whatever thing here, but the general sentiment that you shouldn't be holding off on doing something now because your chances of getting Giannis come June or July are not great anyway.
I know you're tired of it. It does make me laugh that every time it's like he's at Disneyland because once somebody took a picture of him,
right?
And it's like, who knows? It might have been in like June, like or July or August, or who knows when that picture was taken.
Yeah.
But it was instantly became, what was that, like 2-3 years ago? That became like, historic.
Where is Rob? He's at
Yeah,
Disneyland.
I just took this picture of him now, and for all we know, it was Rob Lowe. But it's that part always makes me laugh when those messages start rolling through. I'm gonna say this. So yesterday there was a lot of, why is Team X not doing anything? Why is my GM still sleeping? Like
every team who hasn't made a move is saying that.
We don't get a ton of them here in our chat, but a lot of Miami Heat fans are like, somebody wake Pat up from his nap. Like, it's time to do something. I truly believe people would rather that their team make a crappy trade, like versus like not making a trade at all, just so that they're doing something. So,
yeah. Well, it's FOMO, right? You're seeing other teams do something, and you're like, "Why are we not? We should be doing something. Why are we not doing?" Every fan base wants their team to make an awesome trade at the trade deadline, and not everybody can.
Yep, 100%. So, kind of, I mean, I get it, right? It is what it is, but it's just kind of a weird spot to be in with this. I want to say one other thing too, because somebody asked about it and went by a million questions ago, so I'm not going to try to find it. Guys, we never had time to do the send us your fake trades episode.
Yeah.
Just too many things ended up happening. We'll try to do it earlier next year. In the thing. So.
Somebody commented, and Gabe Vincent gobbling up churros at Disneyland is definitely up there. Do you remember that?
No.
Gabe Vincent went to Disneyland and on Instagram through his stories documented the number of churros he put away that day.
Oh.
It was into the double digits. I think he finished at 11 or 12 churros over the course of the day.
A lot of sugar.
This was like in August. Content was dry, so I actually did like a play-by-play of Gabe Vincent's churros and stuff. It was fun. It was a good time.
Well, here's where this is how you've pulled me into your world of stupidity because fans just have their funny inside jokes that are generally more dumb. It's a good thing he gets all that cardio every game.
Captain Cardio. That's him.
See, I know.
That's Gabe.
I know the jokes.
Captain Cardio. All right, let's go here. If Rob can get Draymond for Dalton Connect, Gabe, and Maxey. Now, that rumor that came out, which is stupid, by the way, that came out this morning, was that Draymond Green, should he get traded in a Giannis trade that would send Giannis to the Warriors, would not be willing to stay with the Bucks, and they would try to figure out some sort of solution, and that, according to Brian Windhorst, he would want to go to the Lakers potentially. I think he makes no sense for the Lakers. If the focus needs to be building around Luka.
Cardi G.
Oh no. Oh no.
That's funny.
That's good one.
That's really funny.
Oh no, Gabe. What have we done? I'm sure he's a very nice guy. I feel
that's
bad.
Funny,
but,
though. That's funny.
And DeMar in the buyout, I'm satisfied. Well, Sacramento is stomping their feet and screaming to anybody who will listen that they won't buy him out.
I mean, sure, that'd be a great out. This would be like a very great outcome for the Lakers. I just don't think that's going to be how it plays out.
Keith, if the Lakers are like, would that just suggest that they really were just waiting for Giannis? If they were to, as soon as Giannis is off the market, go and pick up Draymond, who has money. I mean, I'm talking about because he's got 27 million into next year.
You always go in, like GMs always go in with like plan A, B, C, D, all the way through.
Sure.
Back around to the beginning of the alphabet. So maybe if that's where you kind of came in with this kind of approach to it, we'll see where that kind of goes, with this. But I don't know. I wouldn't be too upset with that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm being mean today. Where have I been mean?
To me, it just doesn't make sense to go after Draymond. If the goal is to build a team around Luka, Draymond doesn't fit that. No, he doesn't fit that.
No, that would be like, we feel like if you could get Draymond for this package,
exactly.
Put you in a position where you start to feel like, all right, we can make an actual run this year.
Right.
right? And then after that, who knows, right? You just kind of figure it out with that. So
my point on the Lakers Nation video I did on this was, okay, let's say you get Draymond. Let's say Draymond being here, who's buddies with LeBron, gets LeBron. LeBron says, okay, I'll stick around another year too. Yep. Okay, and then you see what you got with Austin, Draymond, Luka, LeBron, and you see what you've got. But then Draymond and LeBron are almost certainly gone in the summer of 2027. Right? Yeah. Most likely anyway. And what you don't want is getting to the summer of 2027 and Luka looks around and goes, well, damn, everybody, what's left?
He's Will Smith.
And he's one, he's 1 year away from free agency.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I hear you. This guy said I'm being mean today. I don't think I've been mean today. I think the meanest I was when I was talking about the Celtics. I didn't like that.
Yeah. Move. Well, Cardi G.
I didn't make that up. Somebody said that in the chat. I read whatever's put on the teleprompter. Like
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Diego. Wales.
In a deal where Ayton connected a 2031 first to the Pacers, Mathurin, Rui, J. Huff, and a 2032 second to Miami. Whoa. Then Wiggins, Kellel to LA Fair. Maybe Miami says
value here. Like,
what's that?
This is just swiping value for not sending out enough.
For Wiggins and where?
Yeah, I don't think that's because Ayton doesn't have that kind of value.
No, Ayton's just
the most valuable thing they'd be trading. That would be the 2031 first,
right?
So, I don't think so.
From my I would not trade it for Wiggins if Rui is also in the deal. So I would need something else. Is Kellel Ware a bridge too far though? Yeah, probably.
Maybe. I like Kellel Ware.
I do too.
Yeah.
Why does Rob suck at his job? Just do something. I mean, it was a year ago that he traded for Luka. I mean, it's
at some point I'm only going to give him so much credit for that.
That's just it, right? And my bigger concern has been, what's the plan? Like, what type of team are they trying to build? And unfortunately, maybe the answer is simply they like small combo guards.
Yeah.
Because that's what they tend to target, which is not what you want to find in today's NBA. But just do something is how you can wind up making a bad deal. You can make things worse. I think from a Lakers, it's felt like it's been a little while, aside from the Luka trade, since it's felt like the Lakers are not behind some of the rest of the NBA in terms of their thinking, their process, all of that. And that is a big problem.
Hey, so this is now they're here to re-look at our internet. So
okay.
I got to go. I'll let you handle the rest of the
chat
questions here. Somebody said Cardi G sent the black SUV.
It's Cardi. He's at your door right now.
There it is. We're going to go get churros at Disney World.
He's like, I ran all the way here because my cardio is so great.
We're gonna do a churro comparison next. Look for that. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Keith. Whoop. I tried to make Keith stick around. All right. Let's get into some more of your chat questions and comments. Why not get Giannis if for OKC for that many picks? OKC, I mean, they could, but it sounds like OKC is pretty set on the team that they've got, and they feel like they've got enough, and they don't want to disrupt that chemistry, which I understand. But if OKC wanted to get into the Giannis sweepstakes, I'm sure they could get themselves into it. But would they have to give? Would they have to give up Chet Holmgren, a piece that they wouldn't want to give up? J-Dub, that's something, right? Let's go here. The NBA is actually showing y'all love this time around. I never get to see news break when y'all are live. Yeah, I mean, hey, we got a bunch of things that have. We got the Anthony Davis trade. We've got Jared McCain getting traded. We got all kinds of things happening here. Let's go here. The Mavs downfall should be a 30 for 30 for sure. Yeah, at some point, there's going to be a story about this, about what happened with the Mavs, what happened with, obviously, Luka, this whole situation. I do think the AD trade, it's maybe a bit of an underwhelming return. Now, it does give them a lot of flexibility, and it's important. We'll see what the Mavs ultimately do with that flexibility, but doesn't feel great. when right now, maybe that changes. Maybe they get AJ DeBonsa in the draft. Maybe they get Darren Peters. Maybe they get somebody like that. And now you're going, damn, we got flexibility. Plus, we got these young players. Bring Kyrie back. Let's go. We're off and running. Maybe that's where the Mavs are at, a year from now. But right now, you traded Luka and you got back cap space, couple of bad picks, a 2029 Lakers first, and Max Christie. And that's what you got from Luka. And by bad picks, I don't mean you don't want to have those picks, but just they're not projected to be high-value first-rounders. The more we know is that it feels like a bunch of teams lapping the Lakers. It's just disappointing at this point. Can't stand the passive front office. I say it all the time. Making no trade is better than making a bad trade. But that said, this is... It is a trend, I think, where it doesn't... There was a point, right, back in the 80s where the Lakers were the team that was pushing the envelope. The Lakers were the team that were forward thinking, right? And that was, Dr. Jerry Buss. And they changed not just on the court, but everything that was happening around the court, the way the game was being played, the spectacle that was the NBA, and really helped build the modern NBA, helped turn it into. And in fact, the Lakers, and to give credit to Keith Celtics, as hesitant as I am to do it, the Lakers and Celtics rivalry in the 80s very much is the foundation upon which the NBA is today. But it has been some time, and you can even go back to like getting Kobe in the draft, trading, from the draft, getting Shaq, right? The way the Lakers cleared cap space to take that gamble and get those guys and make the kind of risky moves there that they did. It has felt like it's been a while since the Lakers have been at the forefront of the next iteration of the NBA, where the league is going ultimately. And this pursuit of Giannis feels like continuing to have a foot in the past, and that's the 3-star build, whereas the era that they unintentionally helped begin, which is the 2-star model with depth around those players, and now even perhaps the 1-star model with significant depth around that player, they helped really start that trend with their title team in the 2019-2020 season. And yet they did it almost accidentally. They did that as a fallback option and then didn't, I think, put enough stock in what they had stumbled upon and went back to a 3-star build. So bigger picture, when we look at the moves the Lakers have made, are they forward thinking? Are the Lakers a step ahead of their competition? No, frankly. It's felt like for too long they've been a step behind, and a lot of their moves have been very reactionary. That doesn't mean that they haven't done anything good. It's been more, I think a more apt description of them has been a mixed bag. There's some good, some bad, but trying to find a common thread, a through line of what this team is trying to be has been very, very difficult for years now. And obviously they have to change what that line is going to be with Luka on the team and build out the team in a certain way. And hopefully that does give them clear direction. But it has been a disappointment to see this franchise not necessarily have that step ahead mentality. What is the next way that the game's going to be played? What's the next frontier here for the NBA, for an organization that was the foundation upon it was so forward thinking, to now be seen as a team that is behind is unsettling. Where does OKC get its roster spot from? Looks like it's going to be Usman Jang. Which backcourt has the worst defense? D'Lo, Trey and D'Lo, or Luka and AR? Trey and D'Lo by a decent amount. Trey and D'Lo. I mean, Luka and AR at least have size. Austin is a better athlete than D'Angelo Russell is. Now, that's not to say we're not talking about good defensive. We're comparing bad defenders to bad defenders, effectively, right? Austin Reeves is an okay defender when he's not a point of attack guy. When he's a point of attack guy, he struggles. But I'd also argue too that Luka and AR is not a backcourt. Luka's not a guard, not defensively anyway. So when we're talking about defensively, Luka's not a backcourt anyway. Offensively, yes, he handles the ball and he's a guard. Defensively, he doesn't defend guards, or at least not ideally. They may switch hunt him, but he's not a guard. Crazy how the Jazz and Wizards are putting together better rosters than the Lakers. If we don't make moves and don't get Giannis, Mark, fire Rob, please. I mean, look, the moves have to be there for them to make. But again, I've always said adapt and overcome. You got to find a way to get things done. And right now, based on all reporting, doesn't sound like they're going to be very active here at the deadline. I continue to jump at every notification that I get. And yes, it's a bigger combination. When it talk about Lakers have no assets, that's a bigger indictment of how many mistakes have been made. Every team's going to make mistakes, but they've made a lot that have led them to this point where they're so asset poor that in some ways they get paralyzed in terms of making a move. But again, teams are finding ways. And in the case of the Wizards, we're talking about them potentially capitalizing on a market inefficiency and finding players that are maybe slightly overpaid and bringing in those players because so many other teams in the NBA right now are allergic to anything that might even resemble a negative value contract that drives down the price of those players. And the Wizards now jump in, and now they have Anthony Davis and Trae Young, right? Are those guys worth their contracts? Maybe not, but they're not that far off from them. But it's enough to drive down their value to the point where the Wizards can say, yeah, we'll take the shot. Why not? We don't have to give up much to get those guys. Now, the Lakers even have those assets to make that kind of move. That's a different conversation, right? But it's a situation where they are low on assets, they're low on flexibility, and it means that whatever they do, they've got to get it right. It has to be right. And I think that has a effect of sometimes making them stick in place. I think LeBron takes a pay cut in the offseason. They load up with extra salary and re-sign Austin and then try to win in LeBron's retirement season. Could happen. It's sounding more and more like other teams, like we just heard, was that this morning or late last night, that the Knicks, the Cavs, and the Warriors could be real options for LeBron this summer. He may ultimately decide to move on. Remember, I've said this a bunch over on Lakers Nation, but the paths that are available for LeBron and the Lakers this summer, nothing is set in stone. Maybe things go great from here on out, and LeBron says, hey, I want to run it back. The Lakers say, yeah, let's run it back. And the Lakers say, look, we spent on players X, Y, and Z this summer with our cap space, and they're projected to have a lot of cap space. And LeBron, we have this much left over. Do you want it to continue to be a Laker? LeBron might say, yeah, let's do it, right? Or LeBron could say, no, I'm going to go be a Cleveland Cavalier. I'm going to go take a veteran minimum or whatever from the Cavs. He could do that. LeBron could say, I'm going to retire. LeBron could say, I want to be a Laker next year, and the Lakers could say, no, thank you. We're getting these players instead, and we're moving on. All of those options are still on the table right now. We don't know which direction all that's going to go. As far as will LeBron take a pay cut? Yes, that's coming. That is coming. There's just the market. You look at what happened with Kevin Durant, right? KD with the Rockets. KD, another veteran player, long in the tooth, but performing at a high level. Same description for LeBron James, right? And KD did not get max money on his new deal with the Houston Rockets. LeBron's not going to get that $55+ million max that he's eligible for. How much less will he take? That's yet to be seen. But he's not getting that $55 million contract. Just move Gabe, and I'm happy. Easy peasy said, Io would be great long-term in Gabe's spot, 100%. Question is, what do you have to give up to get him? It's probably not just Gabe. If that was the case, it'd be done already. But I've seen a lot of Lakers fans that are not fans of Captain Cardio, and they want Gabe gone just so JJ Redick can't play him. And I get it. Look, that's been $33-ish million that has effectively been wasted on Gabe Vincent. That's not to say he's a bad guy to have in your locker room, or that it's not good to have veterans on your team to help everybody know, the younger players and all of that. It's not to say that he hasn't had moments, because he has had moments. He's had games where he's gotten hot from three. He's had games where he's done some stuff defensively. But this season, especially with how switch heavy they've been, he's not been a good fit. His first season was wiped out due to injury. So over 3 years, you spent $33 million. And what did you get in terms of quality games out of Gabe Vincent? It's not a lot. It's not. That's part of the reason why when we look at this Lakers roster and we say, why do we constantly feel like they're missing like three guys? Like other teams have like 3 more guys on their team. Why are they missing these guys? Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt is overpaid. Maxey is overpaid. You gave money to Kendrick Nunn. You gave money to Lonnie Walker. You gave money to Montrezl Harrell. None of these guys wound up being long-term fits for your team. The Russell Westbrook trade. I mean, you go on and on and on. I'm not going to relitigate the whole thing, but a lot of mistakes have added up. And then having to pay draft capital to get out of those mistakes. And it's added up to this point. Not that they should, but OKC would only have to give up Dort and Isaiah Hartenstein plus a bunch of picks to get Giannis without giving up their young core. Maybe, but is that enough for you if you're the Bucks? Because not all picks are created equal. The Thunder have a lot of picks. Do they have a lot of high value picks? Depends. Like what happens with the Clippers here? Is that pick more interesting now? If I'm the Bucks, I would definitely want this Clippers pick this year. But like the Jazz pick, well, I'm pretty confident the Jazz are going to tank their way into making sure they keep this pick. Even with Jaren Jackson on their team, they're probably not going to play him that much. They're the 6th seed right now in the standings for the tank race. I think the Jazz will do what's necessary to drop below and make sure they don't send the 9th pick in the draft, let's say, because it's top 8 protected, to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, they have some work to do because they're 3 wins up on Washington. Washington is going to continue tanking. Brooklyn's going to continue tanking. But the Jazz, they're going to have to do what they can to drop down below and increase their odds of not getting jumped and giving that 9th pick to the Thunder. But not all the Thunder's picks have high value. If the Thunder had the Pels pick right now, yeah, we'd put like the Hawks do. We'd probably be talking like, hey, do you just give up the Pelicans pick plus those players and go get Giannis? Do you do it? And even then, the Thunder have been the best team in the NBA. Do you want to disrupt your chemistry to do something like that? Let's see what else we got here. Lakers need to find Sam Presti's intern and hire whoever this is to replace Pelinka. Well, that's one area with Mark Walter now in charge and his deep pockets. I would like to see the Lakers. I'm not saying fire Rob Pelinka, but where you can see a richer owner than the one you had, or at least primary owner, where you can see the value of that is not necessarily on the court, because every team operates within the salary cap and all of that. You can't just go spend. This is not MLB. But where the salary cap doesn't come into play, it's with coaching, it's with front office personnel, it's with facilities, things of that nature. Those are areas where you want to see an infusion of funds. And that might mean more basketball brains in the room. That might mean better training facilities. Not that the Lakers are bad there. That might mean a more beefed up scouting department, analytics department, those sorts of things. We know they got rid of their scouting department recently. Those are areas where you want to see Mark Walter make it make sense. The Pelicans can trade for Daniel Gafford. They could. The question is whether they should. And then what do they give up in order to get him that the Dallas Mavericks want? Now, if the Mavs are in full fire sale mode here and they're trying to build for the future, maybe they could. Daniel Gafford, $14.3 million on the books this year. Pretty reasonable contract for the type of center that he is. If you're the Pels, are you buying right now? There's a report from this morning that the Pelicans, apparently Domantas Sabonis expected to remain with the Kings. Talks with the Raptors have kind of fizzled out. But if the Pels really think they are a playoff team, that they've just been besieged by injuries, I won't disagree that they are better than what their record would suggest and that injuries have been a factor. I would stop short of saying they're a playoff team. There is talent here, but I don't think they could look at it and say, oh, we should be in the playoffs, especially in the West right now. But could the Pels go get Daniel Gafford? Sure. The question is, what are you willing to give up in order to get him? You already gave up your first round pick this year. I'm not suggesting Daniel Gafford should be worth the first, but do you give up multiple seconds and, I don't know, Kevon Looney, something like that? Do you give up multiple? You're not touching Derek Queen, Jeremiah Fears, DeJounte Murray, Trey Murphy. DeJounte Murray, at this point, you might as well let him try to rehabilitate his value next year. Obviously not, Zion. You're not getting into a Zion trade or anything like that. So Is that a Sadiq Bey deal? Is that Jordan Hawkins? Maybe you do something with Jordan Hawkins. That might make some sense. Stack up some salaries there, and there you go. I don't mind going after him as a player to put out there with in a 3 big-ish rotation with Derek Queen, Zion Williamson. But if you're doing that, what are you doing with Yves Missi then? Is he on the move? Because then you start to get a little crowded. Could Austin Reeves get cautious if LA bets on Giannis next year? He'd know he'd be included in a trade package. He could also decide to choose his destination himself with all the teams that have cap space. I mean, if the Lakers were to trade for Giannis, it would probably be happening over the summer anyway. So that's not like Austin would have to sign his contract and then he wouldn't be trade eligible until I believe January 15th. Giannis is probably not a buck all the way through January 15th. I would think if he's not moved by tomorrow, which by the way, we are now 20 minutes away from 24 hours away. So we're 24 hours and 20 minutes away from the trade deadline. So I don't think that the Lakers going after Giannis would suddenly make Austin think that if he signs a contract, he's being put in a trade. He wouldn't be eligible to be traded as soon as he signs the contract, unless it's a sign and trade, in which case he'd be signing that contract with the Bucks anyway. And he'd have to be willing to go to Milwaukee to do that. So it's not like the Lakers are going to pull a fast one on him. Here, Austin, here's your contract. And the second he finishes signing it, got you. We traded you. Enjoy Milwaukee, right? They can't do anything like that. But as far as choosing his destination himself, that's why if you're a Lakers fan and you want Giannis to the Lakers, you can't put him into a trade and assume that that's something you can do, because Austin gets to decide whether or not he wants to sign in Milwaukee or anywhere else this summer. Do I think the Mavs trade Kyrie too? I don't. It seems like the Mavs love Kyrie and they want him to be a part of their foundation moving forward. Does Kyrie want to be part of it, or does he want to be moved? That could be a factor there, but I think there's no pressure at all on Kyrie Irving to come back right now. There's no pressure to come back. The Mavs are going to be in tank mode. Try to get the best draft capital that you possibly can, or the best draft assets that draft odds that you can. And I don't see the Mavs necessarily needing to move on from Kyrie Irving. Now, if Kyrie tells them, please get me out, that's a different conversation. But I think the Mavs want Kyrie to be part of their future. They like having him around. And remember, the Mavs don't have control of their future draft capital. So even though they made this trade with AD, they're going to want to win next year. They're going to want to hit the ground running next year. And I know that they don't have AD now, but Kyrie, Flag, if they keep Gafford, Washington, PJ Washington's not trade eligible to this summer anyway. Najee Marshall, they reportedly want to keep all these guys. Let's say you want to do that. And then you get a good draft pick. Maybe they get AJ DeBonsa. Great. Now you're pairing him with Cooper Flag moving forward. Off you go there. And they're going to try to buy on the market this summer. And so while Kyrie may not fit the Mavs right now this season, it is in the Mavs' vision here, and has to be because they don't have control of their draft pick next year, that next year they're ready to go win basketball games. That has to be the approach for Dallas. So Kyrie can be a fit for this team. Per Sam Amick, Lakers unlikely to make a trade. Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's probably accurate. I don't know that there's much out there for them right now. They just, if you aren't, part of the problem is if you aren't willing to take back salary, then Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber have zero value. No team is calling asking for those players. They might ask for those expiring contracts. So if you aren't willing to take back salary, then there's zero value there that you can provide. You think LA can at least work buyouts with Maxi and Gabe at a lower cost than what they are owed to be buyers on the buyout market? They can be buyers on the buyout market regardless. They have an open roster spot. So they can be buyers on the buyout market anyway, especially now that the veteran minimum is prorated. They're about 900,000 and change below the first apron that they're hard capped at. So they don't have to do that in order to be buyers on the market. Now, if, suddenly Maxi said, don't want the rest of my salary so I can be a free agent or something. Okay. But you don't need to buy out those players in order to go do something on the buyout market. Nor the other thing is, if you're Maxey, let's say, are you getting are you accepting a buyout? Because if you do, is anyone picking you up? If you're Maxey and you're suddenly a free agent, is anyone signing you? I hate to say it, but the answer is probably no. The answer is probably no. So, if you're Maxey, why give back money? You're not going to replace that money with somebody else signing you. Are Matisse Thybulle and Robert Williams still on the table? Yes, I do believe if the Blazers are going to make a move, those are guys that would make sense for them to move on from. Rob Williams, very, very good player. Love his game. The injury concerns are real. He's been more available this year. But those are two guys. This is their last chance. This is their last chance. Because there's a decent possibility that both guys go elsewhere this summer if you're the Blazers. So can you get anything for them now? You've had opportunities to trade them before. You haven't got what you wanted. This is your last chance before they hit free agency. So, yeah, I would, if I'm the Blazers and I can find a reasonable deal. Now, obviously, if it involves taking back future salary, maybe they can say we don't want to do that. But if you could find a reasonable deal for either or Rob Williams or Matisse Thybulle, you need to go make that move. Mavs need to trade Kyrie for Van Vliet, Adams, and a first-round pick. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Do the Mavs do that, or do you value what Kyrie brings over? Because the point that you're making with this is that Van Vliet and Adams are not playing this season anyway. The Mavs aren't trying to win this season anyway. So are you better off taking back these players who can't help Houston right now, but could help you next year, plus a first-round pick, depending on what that first is, and move Kyrie? And then next year you have Van Vliet, who's back and healthy. Next year you have Steven Adams, who's back and healthy, plus that first-round pick. It's interesting. Do the Mavs value Kyrie so much that even wouldn't be enough for them? Maybe. For Houston, would they love to get Kyrie right now and add him to their mix? And then next thing you know, you've got him in the half court. What's it? Do you want to put Kyrie and Durant back together? It's an interesting concept, though. If you're Houston, do you try to move Van Vliet and Adams simply because you know they can't play this season? Or do you hang on to them and say, we care about more than just this season. You guys are part of our future of this club. Steven Adams, we know you're going to be back next year, $13 million, then $11.9 million after that. Van Vliet, $25 million expiring contract. Can you do something with that? I like that for Houston side to go get Kyrie for two guys who can't play right now. And then you can make a real push to go win the whole damn thing. I like that for Houston. I would question whether or not the Mavs would move on from Kyrie at this point. Because again, the danger for the Mavs is you go into next season, and if you're not good next season, you're giving somebody else a really good pick. But it's not a bad idea. I like the thinking. Houston loses in this. I'm seeing people say this would be a all-in type of win now, right? Win right now. Fred VanVleet's not young. He's 31. Steven Adams isn't young. Are we allowed to trade Gabe for a bag of chips? Depends on the kind of chips. Like, are we talking about the high quality, like the kettle chips? Probably not. Like the store brand, like the Walmart brand Lay's, then you can probably go with something like that.
You're still going?
Yeah, we're still going. We're talking about what brand of chips you would trade Gabe Vincent for.
Oh, that's mean.
Right. I know. We got into meat. I was just making the point that if it's like the high quality, like the kettle chips, you're probably not
Cape
going
Cod
that far.
Lays?
But like the
Cape Cod?
Walmart brand, like the Lay's, but it's the Walmart brand, like you could probably do those.
Those are the Cape Cods at home. Those are the big, nice chips at home in Massachusetts. Right.
Of course.
Did I miss anything?
No, nothing else is. Well, I'm just going through the last super chats here.
All
nothing
right.
else has popped here. Can Rozier be traded? That's the way it seems.
Mm-hmm.
If so, is there any benefit to trading for his expiring and receiving second round picks that can be flipped in a follow-up? Frees up a spot too.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think Miami's going to use his just to get off his contract like that.
Mhm.
But I mean, maybe they could, but I don't think they would do that. I think they just let it run. If they can't use him in a trade to improve the team, they'll just let it ride.
Right. I don't think the Lakers are making any moves at the deadline, and the real plan is to wait for the offseason to chase a dream for Giannis. I think it's Giannis or just flexibility in general over the summer. If they don't see anything that they think is good enough right now, then they'll wait and hope something better comes along. I've been saying for a while, though, that's putting way too many eggs in the basket of this summer and putting a lot of pressure on. You have to put together a whole team this summer because you can't go into next season and not have a team ready to win with Luka. You just can't do it. So that puts a lot of pressure on getting. You better be hearing stuff right now about what's coming this summer if that's ultimately going to be where you land, because that's a lot of work to do. That's wait until the last minute to start on your book report and then try to cram the whole thing in.
Yeah. Did you do that one that somebody asked about where OKC is creating the roster spot for?
Yeah, we talked about Ousmane Dieng.
Yeah, so it looks like Dieng's going to go for Plumlee. Then
Mm-hmm.
Plumlee will get waived.
Yep.
Then they'll do the McCain trade. That seems to be the order of operations here.
All right,
I can't imagine Philly doesn't want to take on Plumlee's salary, so I don't think it'll get roped into a 3-team trade.
Let's go here. John said, "You all the FC reporters, NBA." I mean that too. Trev, what
that means?
Yeah, I don't either.
Not like how people like do the FC like from the football thing where they're like.
I'm assuming it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'll take
it based on context.
Sure.
Trev, what can the Lakers do to get Day'Ron Sharpe? I think the price on Day'Ron's probably going to be too. I mean, he was awesome last night against the Lakers. They could have had him over the summer, and they chose to go elsewhere. But what can the Lakers do to get Day'Ron Sharpe? Oh, fan club.
Oh, okay.
Is that what it means?
Well, people do like people say things like
I thought it was football club.
Like they used to do like Messi FC and all that stuff and that. So,
but anyway, I think the price will be too high given what the Lakers have to offer. Like, are you giving up that first for Day'Ron Sharpe? No. Are the Nets selling Day'Ron Sharpe for Gabe Vincent in a second? No. Yeah. Right. So that's where it gets tough.
Yep.
To come up with that. And then Keith, can Boston flip trade Vooch to the Lakers? Love you guys. I don't think the Lakers should want Vooch. He doesn't fit their team. And Boston went and got him for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't need him.
Or maybe first class?
Yeah, maybe.
That could be it. All right, let's go. If the Mavs want to tank, Cardi G can help. Well, so Dan Wojcicki he dropped it in his piece for The Athletic this morning that essentially the Mavs are shut off for any trade with the Lakers because of the Luka trade, and the optics wouldn't be good. So
yeah, you shouldn't do that in general. Like that's just, to me, that's a very bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when the Knicks and Nets wouldn't trade with each other for years,
right?
Like literally years. Like I would not have done that. So but you just got to be, I mean, there's only 30 teams, right? You can only trade with 29 other teams. You don't want to start eliminating teams, but I get it. I get that they're going to be a little,
especially if they gave a player to the Lakers. Like if it was they got a player from the Lakers, maybe it's a different thing, but
or if the Lakers are like, hey, you want 2 firsts for this struggling bench guy? Like,
right.
Yeah, sure. Why not? But yeah. All right.
How about LeBron goes to the Knicks and brings a championship to NYC? A Magic the GOAT conversation then.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, the Knicks were mentioned as one of the teams that could be in pursuit of LeBron this summer. The Knicks, the Warriors, the Cavs were the teams that we heard in the last 24 hours or so. Yeah, he could wind up doing something like that, and we'll see. All possibilities are out there for this summer for LeBron.
Okay, somebody wondered Tatum's checking in here. Do you see? He's causing a minor.
I can hear him
under my desk. Yeah, he's losing his mind. He doesn't like that there's been so much activity at the house today.
Too much going on.
This internet stuff. So, all right. I'm gonna let you finish these last couple of super chats. I'm gonna bow out and as we say, hashtag start writing.
All right, man.
All right,
I'll finish these last couple. I'll see you. Can the Lakers replace Gabe with Javon Carter? They would have to. Well, in theory, yes. They could just sign Javon Carter after he clears waivers. You could sign him to a veteran minimum, and then remove Gabe from the roster. No, he would still be on the roster, but you could take the role. I would argue that you probably should just have Austin Reeves take the role anyway. Whoa! We get to hit the button again. Let's go.
We have an early trade to announce.
We have a trade. Just when we were about to wrap things up. Wow. Keith's jumping back in.
Or I'm not ever going to leave, and we're just going to
just going to stay here. Just in, the Chicago Bulls are trading Kobe White and Mike Conley Jr. So Mike Conley now getting rerouted to the Charlotte Hornets for Colin Sexton, because there's got to be a guard coming back. Ousmane Dieng, who the Hornets are just picking up in the trade with the Thunder, and 3 second-round picks.
I like this for the Hornets a lot, because this assumes they're going to re-sign Kobe White. I don't think Mike Conley even sticks. There's still a good chance he gets bought out. I don't know that they'll need him, but I like Kobe White there quite a bit. Colin Sexton's done a nice job, but big Kobe White fan. So
sorry, I'm dying. Keep talking.
Oh, Trevor's got it going down the wrong pipe. So
I was too by the trade.
Somebody said finally Kobe to the Hornets. So yeah, I like it. This is a good deal for Charlotte. Like, Charlotte's making a run. They want that play-in spot and maybe more. We'll see. Like, they're not bad. Like, they're actually pretty good.
I think he fits too. Like, they're fun. They're this high octane offense, and Kobe White fits in that.
This trade really got to you, man.
It got to me, man. I'm like, oh my God, Kobe White. Kobe finally to the Hornets. Colin Sexton to the Bulls, because you had to get a guard back. What do you think of the return? Dieng in 3 seconds for Kobe White. They wanted a first. 3 seconds isn't a bad compromise, though.
No, it's right. Yeah, 3 seconds. I mean, we'll have to see what they are.
Yeah. Especially if the Bulls made the decision that they were not going to be the team to pay Kobe White.
Yeah, absolutely. Where's my Twitter?
Does this mean Ayo Dosunmu is on the move? I mean, he still could be.
He could be. I got the sense that he was a little more likely to stay and be re-signed by the Bulls. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that goes. So we'll see. This may get ultimately roped into that Thunder trade because obviously Charlotte, they don't have Ousmane Dieng yet. So that may turn into the Thunder jump into this and turn into a multi-team trade, or they may do that one first, then this one after. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of moving parts there, moving around. So really Sexton in 3 seconds for Kobe White.
Yeah.
I mean, Ousmane Dieng, though, he's not a guard. What do the Bulls want him for?
Right. Well, does Sexton stick in Chicago?
No, probably not. Maybe for the rest. I mean, I don't even know if he sticks for the next 24 hours.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they could reroute him.
Yeah, they could. Pretty tradable contract. We feel differently about Colin Sexton than I think a lot of other people do. So,
what did the NBA just release?
Jackson Hayes has been suspended. For pushing a Washington Wizards mascot?
What? Is this real life? During pregame introductions.
I mean, Robin Lopez built like a career out of beating up the mascots.
What? Just the Lakers were finally healthy.
Well, they're still healthy. It's not.
They finally had their full complement of
You're not
players.
mentally healthy. I don't know. What is this? This is the funniest couple of days in the NBA in a while. Oh my God.
How is this?
I don't even understand. It doesn't even make sense.
My God, he got suspended for a game for pushing a mascot.
Saves the Lakers a little bit off the tax bill.
This is not. I'm not getting scam tyrannied here, right?
No. This is direct from
real,
the NBA.
Right? This is from the NBA. Before I tweet this out,
yes, we find out some intern gets fired in 20 minutes because they were having a little bit of fun, but yeah, I don't know.
Wow,
what a goofy thing to just drop in the middle of the trade deadline.
Yeah, this is legit from the NBA communications account.
Yeah, I retweeted it.
Wow.
Oh goodness.
This league, man.
Well, you go do a 20-minute video on that.
I'm gonna go break down what in their cap situation. No, let's keep going here. Anyway, big trade, Kobe White going to the Hornets. The Hornets have been good. I think I was talking about this on radio in Charlotte a couple weeks ago that like the Hornets, people keep talking about draft capital with them. I think they could really benefit from making the play in. I know for most, like we look at Chicago and we say, God, they just want to make the play in, and that's so frustrating. All that. Like the Hornets making the play in, that could really be a stepping stone toward what they can turn this team into. And I could see them surviving the play in the East, right? Especially at the way they're playing right now. They've been red hot. So I think
so they would come in
is huge.
Yeah, I'm going to say they're going to overtake the Bulls. They're only a game behind the Bulls. Bulls are clearly pivoting in a completely different direction. So then it becomes they're a game and a half behind the Hawks. Not bad. They could certainly make that up. They're a few games behind the Magic and the Heat. So let's say the Magic and the Heat stay ahead. Hornets win the 9-10 game and then beat the whoever loses out of Heat and Magic. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
The way they're playing would not shock me. I'd feel a lot better about them if they were playing like the 86 Celtics because they seem to play incredible against the better opponent they play.
They do. Well, I mean, is that like they're not going to give, if they make it through the play, and they're not going to give Detroit or the Knicks like
probably
a scare, but could they take a game or two? Sure. I mean, they could get hot and win a game or something.
And this is the important thing. This is where like Detroit, right? Remember when a lot of people were like, well, who cares? They're just going to get knocked out in the first round anyway. Yeah, but you use that to get your players that experience and start to learn what the playoffs are about. Exactly. Players are completely different than anything else. So I don't mind if they make that run.
All right, let's go here. Lakers receive Rozier, 3 second-round picks. Miami, Vando, Connect, Gabe. Why would Miami want to take on Vando's salary?
Yeah,
they wouldn't want to do it. They'd rather just have the expiring.
We already talked about the Jackson Hayes thing.
Yeah, we just did.
Yeah, we laughed because
we talked about it.
Absurd.
It's real, and it's not Shams trolling. That didn't come from Shams. That came from the NBA.
Direct from the NBA account.
The NBA themselves.
Yep. All right. What do we think? We're gonna get another trade here in a minute or two. Under 24 hours to go.
So this says, Trevor, you should be our new GM / team operations. I wouldn't say no. I don't think they'll be calling me though. Possible last year of LeBron, AR on 11 million, and a wasted year of it's 14 million, but still a wasted year of Luka's prime with 50 million expiring on the roster, but cap space with RFAs and Giannis pipe dream. LOL. Yeah, I mean that, like Wojcicki noted, like, well, Walker Kessler and Peyton Watson, all these guys are restricted free agents. You have to just ignore restricted. They don't even exist. They're not real. They're not real. You may say Denver could be pushed, maybe, but otherwise you have to pretend that restricted free agents cannot be a factor in your thinking at all. They do not exist. The incumbent team is almost always going to match unless you do something stupid and turn them into a negative value player by way overpaying them. So restricted free agents, their names can be nice, but you have to pretend like they're not even there.
Everybody who's asking, like, did they, like, hey, Kobe White's traded, talk about it. Jared McCain was traded. Talked about that like an hour ago, the Jared McCain thing. And
we did.
Kobe White, we already did that as well. So just go back and watch after.
All right, let's go here. No, Trevor, we need you. I'm better now. I'm good now. I was only dying for a moment there. What are Studio Stu's thoughts on Gabe and Disney Rob? Oh, he doesn't care. As long as he has a warm blanket to sleep on. And by the way, I ordered these cat warming blanket things that are specifically for cats. They can't get to me right now because I'm snowed in. Hopefully that'll end in a day or two. But he's going to be so happy when he gets that. Lakers have to be like OKC and improve via the draft, then develop players so they can pawn off some players to cover Lakers tax on future trades. Well, first of all, you got to have draft capital. And they do have some. They're not missing all their draft capital. But remember, OKC wasn't just, hey, let's go all in on the draft. OKC also got what turned into a generationally amazing trade in the Paul George trade, right? Where
patience to that, and I'm not being insulting, the Lakers fan base market has not shown that level of patience with, like,
you have to tank for a few. Well, and the Lakers did tank for a few years, and it got them Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and D'Angelo Russell. Like, there has to be an element of luck too to wind up with,
right? Like, because then you flip them
turned
for
into AD,
you won a title.
right?
So, I mean, that's essentially what you're talking about doing here. I will say this. I think one of the single biggest improvements we will see with the Lakers over time is with the Lakers have over the last several years. It's kind of funny because it had been like some of the marquee franchises in the league. The Knicks, the Bulls, the Celtics, and the Lakers had run these super duper small front office staffs, small analytics staff, small scouting staffs. Just they didn't put a lot of money into it. It's very much like they say in Moneyball, right? Keep the money on the field, kind of thing. Keep the money on the court.
The soda money.
Yeah, exactly. This is where Mark Walter is going to, kind of. They've already started adding and beefing up, and they're going to build a new, or improve the practice. So, like, those things will all matter and kind of come together in this.
Yes, absolutely. And Keith, while you were out, I was talking about that. Can you see the screen right now?
Yeah. Yeah. That's from, what is that? That's
Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura, yeah.
Anyway, but yes,
I want to see the video of what he did.
I do too. Somebody's got to have video somewhere. Anyway, but your serious point, yes, it is right. And we were talking about that while you were out. Yeah, that's where you need to see the spending really matter and having a deeper pocketed owner matter.
Yeah. I'll pull this one. It doesn't. Whoops, I started. So bring it up. Thomas asked, how were the Bulls able to aggregate Mike Conley? I don't think they are aggregating him. I think it's going to work as its own thing.
Yeah.
It'll work. So trades get reported as one big thing, which I always say this, 99.9% NBA fans, what they need to know is exactly what Shams reported. The way the actual mechanics of the trades often work is they get broken into pieces and parts. And that's how it goes through. So they're not going to actually need to aggregate Conley because Kobe White's contract is big enough to match salary for Colin Sexton. And then Conley's is obviously big enough to match for Ousmane Dieng, if it goes through as reported now, which that's the other thing. And this is not a knock on Shams or any other reporters who do this stuff. This is what it is now. This could change in the next 23 hours and 50 minutes to something slightly different and tweak a little bit. So that's more of an off-season thing with that, but we have seen that occasionally at the trade deadline.
All right, we'll finish with this. Lakers question: could Lakers sign DeMar as a buyout? I mean, in theory they could, but the Kings have said they won't buy him out.
Can't. Makes too
Why
much.
not?
Makes over the non-taxpayer.
They're below the first.
Oh,
apron.
they're below the first apron. Yeah, never mind. Mind. Or hard capped at the first apron.
Hard capped at the first apron, but below it. Yeah. So.
Hold on. What did Kobe White do? Sounds like Kobe White might have done something funny.
Ja Morant and camp disinterested in playing for Kings, according to Kelly Eco. Strong preference for the Heat or Wolves if he's traded. All right. Well,
there it is.
There it is. We got Keith. We got a number of breaking. We've been on for almost 2 hours. We got a number of breaking news trades coming out.
Yeah.
And who knows? Even if we jump off right now, I may go do something real quick for Jackson Hayes over on Lakers Nation just to make fun of him. But we'll probably be right back here.
Yeah, we may be. Yeah, we may be back. I wish there was like a rule that once games tip off, like no more trade break. It's as much as I like this stuff. My favorite thing about basketball is basketball. So I wouldn't mind one, but I get it's a pretty light schedule tonight. So
it is
to concern, but yeah, and then guys, we'll be live again today if we need to. But we'll be live tomorrow. We'll let you know. Keep an eye on our socials. We'll let you know with that. Yeah, hashtag stop writing. Hashtag I never even get started. I didn't even have the mic unplugged. I just moved it off.
And the news broke.
And then that tweet came out. So yeah, there's gonna be. I just got a text from somebody who said they're gonna that series of deals with the Thunder, and they're gonna get that's gonna get all tied into like one big trade.
That makes sense.
In the end. So yeah. So we'll see with that. But all right,
everybody. Appreciate all of you. Is Minnesota going to sign Conley again? If he gets waived, they might.
Well, that's the rumor. That was the rumor that was going around, is if he gets waived, because remember, he can't. If he gets waived after the immediate team that acquired him, which was Chicago, because that trade's already done, they would, if Chicago bought him out, Minnesota couldn't get him. Now he's going to a third team. He gets bought out. Yeah, he may not even leave Minnesota.
Yeah,
to be honest,
he may not
just sit right there.
Mike Conley just sitting around watching all this stuff, laughing.
Yeah,
having a good time.
Hanging out, shooting righty floaters, even though he's a lefty,
just for fun.
Yeah,
just for fun. All right.
Thank
you, everybody. If anything else breaks, we'll be back. Till next time, we'll see ya and stay safe.